Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by BASF.
Brittany Warner here with RealAgriculture.com. Welcome back to another episode of our Pulse School. I have Mike Palmier with me with MaxAg Consulting located in West Central Saskatchewan. Today we're talking all about spraying. We are right in the thick of it right now. I know lots of guys trying to time it with rain and everything like that to get out into those fields. Mike, what is a critical weed-free period for a crop?
Well, it's different with each crop, right? So in the example of peas, I mean, it's really important to have that crop as weed-free as possible from emergence all the way until 5-6 node stage. And so when you think about that, I mean, we want to make sure to control those early weeds. So your burn off is extremely important. A lot of guys will try to seed peas first, but I would really suggest to wait until there's some weeds up to get a proper burn off on that. We have limited options in crop if we do have a weed escape with burn off, but also it's to plan ahead on your pulses and get a herbicide residual product on there either in the fall or the spring in order to get some residual action on the planned weeds or the expected weeds on that field to maintain that critical weed-free period. Now in the instance of lentils, it's a little bit different. It's later on in stage, so you know that 5 to 10 node stage is very critical to have it be weed-free there. So I mean, burn off is also very important because we're restricted mainly to group 2 herbicides in crop or a metribuzin application, which again you'd want to probably for crop safety reasons have earlier in crop, and you know, try to manage your weeds so that the weeds that you have in crop are a small enough stature that you can get good control with your herbicide application.
Now what happens if we go out there and the weeds are larger than we would like or larger than ideal to start spraying? What are the options at that point?
Well, the options at that point is, you know, we only have so many options in crop in those pulse crops, peas and lentils, and so really at that point is okay, try to spray in ideal conditions, increase your water volume, make sure that your water is of good quality, and do everything you can to ensure that spray application is going to work the best possible.
All right, last question here for you, Mike. Should people try and save a trip across the field and mix their fungicide with their herbicide?
I'll give the classic agronomist answer there. It depends. Really, it depends on the life cycle and the staging of that plant. Your environmental conditions, the size of the plant, how uniform the canopy is within that. I mean, generally speaking, a fungicide at herbicide timing, if it's at proper staging, which would be 6 node and earlier on peas and 9 node and earlier on lentils, doesn't necessarily really show a lot of return on investment because at that point in time the plant is small, disease conditions maybe aren't quite as prevalent, and those pathogens are really just starting to develop. Now if we get into a situation where we're spraying those pulses late, say right before flowering, where you know, we've had a bunch of weather, other crops are calling our name and we have to get out there, then you might need to look at it, especially if you have a large say lentil canopy where you're concerned about closure, if it's wet within that canopy, and you're spraying at a 10, 11, 12 node lentils, it might make sense to throw in a fungicide with that.
Great. Thanks so much for your time today, Mike.